Yep. New York is fully a Knicks town once again. That's the title of New York Post sports columnist Mike Vacarro's trending article on the Post website. Go check it out. But let's get Mike on and talk about what I like to call the New Year Knicks. Trademark right there. No one can take that. Mike, thanks for jumping on with us. 10-2 since the OG Anunoby trade. The Knicks stock is trending in the right direction. You were at the game last night at the Barclays Center. What was the atmosphere like? Julius Randle called it lit. Can you, in fact, confirm that it was lit?
You might want to copyright that one, Brandon. The New Year's Knicks. I like that one.
Thank you.
The atmosphere was preposterous if you're a net because you were wearing your essentially your road uniforms and it felt like it was a road game for the Nets and it felt like it was a Garden for the Knicks. Look, I mean, there's always a percentage of Knicks fans that are able to get into the Barclays Center for these games. But this was one that was this sounded like the games toward the end in Jersey, where the building was always 85% Knicks fans. This was really the first time since they've been in Brooklyn that this was a complete Knicks takeover, at least in my memory. And it was loud, and I believe it had an impact. I mean, it had a negative impact on the Nets. They certainly realized it. They recognized it. They weren't happy about it. And I believe it helped carry the Knicks over the top on a night when they really were fixing to be beat, and the Nets couldn't finish them off, and the Knicks were able to figure out a way to win in the last minute and change, and I think the crowd had a lot to do with it.
Mike, you've covered this Knicks team for a long time. I was a rookie with the Giants in 2007. I understand what the Knicks mean to this city, to their fan base. It's something different in the water in the Hudson River this year because this team is different. In your eyes, what's special about this year's squad?
Well, look, I mean, in the modern NBA, the thing that really stands out is that the Knicks don't give any games away. They don't win every game, but they certainly give an effort in just about every game. I mean, that stems from the top. Tom Thibodeau, if you ever say the word load management to him, he'll cringe, and he has a bunch of players who feel the same way. And look, I don't expect all these players to play all 82, and I think that nobody would believe that. But look, I mean, it's certainly stark in reference to the Nets because their skid began when they gave everybody the day off against the Bucks on Christmas week. They heard about it. They were fined for it, and it's really, it's hard not to argue that hasn't turned their season around for the worst. The Knicks, meanwhile, care about every game. I mean, they have a 17-0 record against teams with losing records, which tell you they take care of their business when they can, and I think that's really a team-wide sentiment and a team-wide feeling, and it's part of their DNA.
Off the top of your head, I'm kind of putting you on your spot. Is there a Knicks team in the past that you can compare this year's team to?
The '99 team, especially once they started to click, really reminds me. That's not recent memory. That's now 25 years ago. But, I think the hallmark of that team was that they were flawed, and during the regular season they had a lot of problems. They almost got the coach fired. They did get the GM fired, and yet once the playoffs started, they found a grittiness and a resilience that really allowed them to overcome a lot of obstacles that should have been in their way on their way to the finals. And I'm not saying this team is going to the finals, but I'm saying that the feeling I get around this team is very similar to the way that team was. And again, I mean, they're not going to go undefeated. They're going to lose their share of games. They may lose Thursday when the world champs come to town in former Denver, but they're certainly going to give you an honest effort just about every time on the floor. And sad to say, in the modern NBA, that makes them stand out.
Yeah, I can't wait till the Nuggets come to the Garden on Thursday. I think that's going to be the Knicks' true test in this last dozen of games where they've went 10-2. We're just a couple weeks, 2 weeks into the NBA trade deadline. The Knicks are rolling. The Knicks are lit. But in my opinion, I think they could use an upgrade to be considered strong contenders in the East, Mike. So earlier this week, you wrote that Leon Rose needs to make at least one more move. What do you think are realistic options for this squad?
Well, the guy I mentioned in that column was Bruce Brown, who I think would be a perfect fit because he couldn't be a more perfect Thibodeau player if Thibodeau created it himself in the lab. Just the way he approaches the game, his two-way approach. I mean, the way he plays hard every game. Kyle Lowry is another guy that I think, obviously, when I wrote that column, that trade hadn't happened. He's certainly a buyout candidate now in Charlotte, and he's a guy that I think would fit in really nicely and really give the Knicks what they desperately need right now, which is a guy to be able to spell Jalen Brunson 12, 13 minutes a game because, I hate to be a part of the minutes police, but I don't think you can ask Jalen to keep putting 38, 39, 41 minutes a game on the floor, it's still only January. I just think that you need somebody you can rely on, and a guy that you never know when Jalen's going to go down for a couple of days or when he might have a poor game. Right now, look, I mean, Deuce McBride has done a wonderful job, but I think he's still learning, and I think the Knicks are at a place where they can really use somebody who's established, and that's certainly Lowry to a T.
Mike, we love the article. I think it's safe to say the Knicks are back. I don't want to jinx them because I always do that, but the city is always better when Knicks basketball is flying high. Mike Vacarro, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon. Good to be with you.